Thank you, Dr. Anirudh, for this kind invitation, and thank you, AIOS, for including me in the program. Can you see my slides?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay, sure. So this is a 13-year-old child who was referred to as retinoblastoma. And when we look at it, we see a mass lesion with what looks orange and different colors. So is this indeed retinoblastoma, and how can imaging help us in differentiating different tumors, particularly choroidal tumors, is the essence of this talk. So it need not be high-end technology like OCT and OCTA, but a color photograph itself is pretty much diagnostic in many of the past lesions, particularly of the choroid. To go over the basics, if the lesion is orange, it usually is a hemangioma, and if it's brown or gray, it could be a melanoma. And if it is white and with well-defined margins in the subretinal space, it could be an osteoma, and cream-colored multiple lesions involving both the eyes is usually a metastasis. So a clinical examination and just a color photograph itself gives us a clue as to what the choroidal mass is. And what is this one? So when the mass is multicolored, so some part of it can be white, which is abscess, some part of it is orange, some part of it is gray, is usually a granuloma, tubercular granuloma. So this kid had a tubercular granuloma. So there's a 40-year-old lady who was referred as choroidal melanoma. So we see a pocket of subretinal fluid and a gray colored mass here. And when we did a fluorescent angiogram, it shows this starry sky kind of a leakage, which could be a melanoma also. But what is the clue is the hot test. The presence of a hot test indicates this is possibly an inflammatory etiology, possibly a posterior scleritis. So this is one indication where an invasive angiogram would be helpful. But an invasive angiogram can also differentiate between different tumors. For instance, this is a solitary choroidal hemangioma, which shows early hyperfluorescence on fluorescent angiogram and does leak in the late phase. In contrast, this is a melanoma, which does not show so much of a hyperfluorescence as a hemangioma, and though it does show some amount of leakage in the late phase. This is what the textbooks will say, but the disease does not read the textbook, so it doesn't always hold true. Other factors, other features of melanoma in angiography is the double circulation. The simultaneous filling up of the retinal and choroidal vessels is what we call as double circulation. That may be seen in melanoma, but it is not the case always. So some melanomas you can see this. So we cannot take this as a diagnostic criteria. So melanoma, as I mentioned earlier, is supposed to leak less dye on an angiogram. So we see a melanoma here in FFA and an ICG, it shows some amount of hyperfluorescence. In contrast, this is a hemangioma. So this is a clinically proven hemangioma, but then you can see that it's not leaking much. So though the angiogram can sometimes help differentiate between a melanoma and a hemangioma, it's not always true. So we cannot go just by an angiogram to differentiate between these tumors. So what is the standard of diagnosis in melanoma? The basis is, of course, clinical examination, followed by an ultrasonography, which shows a high surface reflectivity and a low internal reflectivity and the angle kappa and choroidal excavation, orbital shadowing, and all that. And if you were to do an MRI, it shows hyperintense on T1 weighted image and a hypointense on T2 weighted image. But all this is for tumors which have achieved a sufficient volume. What do we do if the lesion is very small like this? This is a small lesion. So is this a melanoma or a nevus? How do we differentiate? So this is where the OCT and OCTA come into play. So this is an OCT which shows the ultrasonography, you hardly see the mass, but on the OCT, you can see that this choroid is invaded by this nevus, and it seems to be showing some amount of elevation. So how do we differentiate a nevus from a melanoma? Nevus most often does not show leakage. So we don't see intraretinal fluid or subretinal fluid. In contrast, a melanoma will show intraretinal fluid and subretinal fluid most often. But a nevus sometimes can show fluid leakage as well. And in nevus, you can see the posterior border of the lesion, but in a melanoma, we don't see a posterior border of the lesion. And associated changes like a shaggy photoreceptor, this is what we call as shaggy photoreceptors, can be seen in a melanoma. So in a small lesion which cannot be picked up on ultrasonography, and OCT can give us clues about whether it's a nevus converting to a melanoma or not. And an OCT angiogram also gives us clues if a nevus is converting into a melanoma. So in a melanoma, the margins are ill-defined. In contrast, you can see the well-defined margins in the nevus. And the choriocapillaries are hyporeflective in a melanoma, but which is not so in the nevus. And there are more avascular areas in the melanoma in contrast to nevus where there are less or no avascular areas. And choroidal vascular changes are more common in melanoma, which is not the case in the nevus. And tumor microvasculature is said to be prognostic in a choroidal melanoma. So a microvascular loops anastomosis, which is there within the tumor, it portrays an increased risk of metastasis. So this can also be studied, though it is a bit difficult, like Dr. Vaishali and Dr. Anil mentioned that the segmentation is very difficult, particularly in an elevated lesion. So if we manually segment a tumor, then maybe we may be able to see these choroidal microvascular patterns in some lesions. This is a peripapillary melanoma which underwent brachytherapy. In the follow-up, you hardly see much of a change to see if the treatment has worked or not. So one other utility of OCTA is post-brachytherapy, you can see the intrinsic vascularity of the tumor decreasing, indicating that the radiation has had some effect on the tumor. Now moving on to choroidal hemangioma, the standard of care is once again an ultrasound, which shows a high surface reflectivity and medium to high internal reflectivity, and FFA will show leakage. But is this a melanoma or a hemangioma? Sometimes there can be surface pigmentation and biotic scarring in a hemangioma, which may mask it to say whether it is a melanoma or a hemangioma. Here, once again, the OCT can give us some clues. The choriocapillary layer is intact in a hemangioma, in contrast to melanoma, where the choriocapillary layer is lost. So this is a patient who presented to us, which looks like a pretty much normal fundus, but we didn't expect a normal fundus because this patient had a nevus flammus on the right side. And OCT shows that there is indeed a diffuse choroidal hemangioma, which may not be very obvious on a clinical examination. And the same thing can be picked up beautifully on the OCT angiogram. This is the diffuse choroidal hemangioma with a bag of worms like an appearance. This is there are three different patients with the choroidal hemangiomas. So these two patients had some amount of exudative RD. This patient did not have exudative detachment. So when we see a patient in the clinic, can we predict which patient is likely to leak in the future? Possibly, yes. When there are more the lucent areas on OCT angiogram, more dark areas, these tumors are probably not going to leak. So you can probably increase the follow-up duration in contrast to tumors which have less of these black areas, indicating that these patients are likely to exude, and we probably follow them up much closer. Another choroidal tumor is the choroidal osteoma. Standard of care is color photograph, fluorescent angiogram, ultrasound, and CT scan, which can help us confirm the diagnosis. The OCT is not really required to confirm the diagnosis, but what it tells us, it defines the areas between decalcified and calcified portion. Why is it important? Because decalcified areas, the photoreceptors are atrophic. So if the decalcified area involves the macula, then these patients are likely to have poor visual prognosis. That is something which you can tell the patient. Of course, the OCT can also pick up the associated choroidal neovascular membrane in a patient with choroidal osteoma. And in all these patients, like a hemangioma or an osteoma with a CNVM, the OCT helps us see the effect of treatment, anti-VEGF treatment or photodynamic therapy or things like that. Last few slides. The OCT also helps us differentiate between primary vitreoretinal lymphoma and choroidal lymphoma. The PVRL, the infiltration is between the RP and Brooks, in contrast to lymphoma, the choroidal lymphoma, where the infiltration is deep to Brooks membrane. To summarize, diagnosis of choroidal mass lesions is most often clinical. Fundus imaging can help detect subtle disease and also aid in early detection of malignant change. It helps prognosticate vision post-treatment, secondary changes like CNVM retinal atrophy, and also a guide to responsive treatment. Thank you very much for the kind attention.